welcome back to the Modern Hippie Girl podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are going to talk all about exercising for women. Why did we choose this subject today? Well, I'm going to tell you why. So, if you do not know how exercising even came about, how it even became a part of our world, I'm going to give you a little history lesson today. During World War II, the military decided to take a bunch of men from the ages of 18 to 20 and test the effects of using weights to build stamina. Because what they saw is that the soldiers that were going out into the field weren't able to endure that lifestyle. So they needed to figure out a way to make them stronger so that they could. That has now influenced our world today and what we see today for working out and lifting weights in the gym. It also influenced things like CrossFit and HIIT workouts. It's that precision and that heavy lifting that became what we know today as exercise. Why am I bringing this up? Well, first of all, most of the people that are listening to my podcast are women, right? So it is important to know that when you are lifting weights and doing HIIT workouts and doing CrossFit and stuff like that, when you're lifting heavy and your body is starting to take on more muscular-ish looking physiques, it's because these workouts were made for men, because they did the studies on men. To this day, they still have not done any studies on weights and exercise for women's bodies. So that's pretty eye-opening, right? Because we can see that when women do exercises that are catered to men's physiques, that they will take on that type of physique. I don't know about you, but for me, I prefer to look more feminine and have elongated muscles and be lean and, have a more feminine look. Not knocking anybody that loves, their CrossFit or loves, to be muscular or anything like that. Like, go with your bad self. I'm just saying there are ways for women to work out that will help them to stay looking more feminine, right? We see this now. When Joseph Pilates came onto the scene, that was a game changer for women's bodies, right? Because, if you look back, I'm going to get back to this. I just had like a squirrel moment. Squirrel. When you look back on exercise videos for women back in, like the 50s and 60s and stuff like that, they were on like vibration machines and they weren't like lifting weights and things like that, because at that point it hadn't been mainstream for women to lift weights, right? And then when Joseph Pilates came onto the scene and started teaching Pilates, it was a game changer, because this was something that it wasn't specifically supposed to be for women per se, but it was, coming from a gymnastics background where you wanted to elongate your muscles but build strength. And that's exactly what Pilates does. When I went to school to be a Pilates instructor, I grew a half an inch in the 6 month that I was in Pilates school, because that's literally what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to elongate your muscles. And so I actually grew, which was crazy. The only reason I knew that is because when we started school, we measured ourselves. And then when we were done with school, we measured ourselves again, because it's literally supposed to elongate your muscles. So most people grow. Isn't that crazy? So anyways, in my program, I do not ask you to work out in phase 1. You can if you want to, but we are eating at a caloric deficit. So I know that doing anything like CrossFit or a HIIT workout or, lifting heavy and stuff like that is going to be a lot on your body if you don't have the right caloric intake. But then like I said, in phase 1, we're all about accelerated weight loss. Phase 2 is all about eating clean to get lean. So in phase 2, we are adding in exercising, right? I really wanted to do this episode because I want to talk to women about what they choose to do for exercise. I think it's really, really important to understand that based on where your hormones are at and the state that they are at, specifically your cortisol levels, that should be the determining factor of what you use to work out. Why? Because if you are somebody, like if you listen to my stress episode, if you are somebody who has high cortisol and you are in chronic fight or flight mode, doing a CrossFit class, a HIIT workout, or lifting heavy is going to keep you in fight or flight mode. Because our bodies is supposed to go into fight or flight mode when we're working out, right? Because it's supposed to bring energy to our extremities so we can do the exercise. But our body's also supposed to know how to get back into rest and digest after it's done working out. But if you are in chronic fight or flight mode, you are just keeping it in fight or flight mode even longer. Okay. So for women who have chronic stress, have high cortisol, you would be doing your body a disservice, and you will see that your body is unable to lose weight from exercising, right? You're probably going to bulk up. You're probably going to retain more inflammation. And even though exercise is a stress reliever, you're not going to get any stress relief from it. So doing things like walking, yoga, somatic yoga, swimming, things like that is going to be a lot more beneficial to your body until you are able to get into rest and digest again on your own. Before my clients start phase 2, we always determine what their exercise is going to be, right? Because if they are at a point where maybe they lost weight, but they didn't lose like all of the weight that they wanted to, doing things that are going to continue to keep their cortisol levels balanced is going to be more beneficial for them. Now, if you lost weight and we saw a dramatic change in your cortisol levels, have at it. Go do whatever it is that you want to do that's going to be, the exercise that you want to do. But so many clients come to me and say, I eat right, I exercise, I do all the right things, but I cannot lose weight. 9 times out of 10, it's a cortisol issue. So I will make them stop doing their intense workouts and start walking instead, managing their stress levels, bringing their cortisol levels down, making sure that they are really, really focusing on nervous system regulation and what they're putting in their body. Most clients are shocked by how beneficial this is and how effective it is so fast. And it sucks because you're like, I've been killing myself in the gym, going 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, eating right, but I can't lose a pound and I'm only gaining weight or I'm just bulking up and I don't understand what's going on. That's what's going on. Okay. So I think it's worth mentioning that we need to really, really be aware of our hormonal balance when we are starting an exercise routine. Right? I wanted to really talk about exercise for women in general because we are so sensitive to stress that it is going to be more beneficial for women to do workouts that are less stressful. I have nothing against women lifting weights, but if you are somebody who is chronically stressed, lifting heavy weights is not going to be beneficial for you. And so I would say if you are listening to this and you are struggling with that you need to start doing walks instead. And I know that that's hard. And I know that that's not what you want to hear because you're like, but I love going to the gym and I feel so good after and all this stuff. But if this is your goal, right? If you're wanting to lean out, you need to bring your cortisol levels down. It's not forever. You'll get back in the gym, but right now you need to focus on really, really regulating your nervous system. Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? The Modern Hippie Girl Reset is a 3-phase holistic wellness program designed to help women reconnect with their bodies and create real, lasting health from the inside out. In this program, you'll get precise meal plans, hormone and gut healing protocols, stress management tools, blood sugar balancing tips, and an extensive holistic health education to help you keep your results for life. Plus, there's optional personalized coaching to support you every step of the way. If you've been feeling off, overwhelmed, or stuck, this is how you get back to feeling like your best self again. Check out all of our programs at modernhippiegirlwellness.com. I don't know if you guys know. So shortly after I had my son, I was diagnosed with a pelvic organ prolapse, which means that basically everything that holds itself up inside of the vagina basically collapsed. And I used to work out all the time. And obviously I didn't when I was pregnant. Not obviously, but I didn't work out while I was pregnant. And so it'd been, I was pregnant back to back. So it'd been like 2 years at that point. I couldn't work out. I was told that I couldn't lift anything over 10 pounds because I had a stage 3 pelvic organ prolapse. Call it POP. Okay. Pelvic organ prolapse. And so I couldn't work out. And that was really, really hard for me because I loved going to the gym. But when I went to school and learned all about cortisol affecting weight loss, it made so much sense to me why before I got pregnant, when I was going to the gym 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted, why it was happening. And so I knew that when I finally did get the surgery to fix my POP, that I was going to make sure that my nervous system was in a better place so that I could go back to lifting weights and getting into the gym again, because that was going to be key, right? I wasn't going to see results unless I was going to get my nervous system under control. And so I didn't end up getting my POP surgery until last October. So almost a year now. And I lived with a stage 3 POP for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. And that was really hard because I lost all of my, muscle that I'd ever built from being in the gym. I had zero ab strength, like zero, because I just had back-to-back babies. They were both almost 9 pounds. I'm 45 years old. I couldn't work out my abs. And so I had lower back problems constantly, because, think about your back and your abs as like a corset that's like holding your body up. And if you have no front corset and you only have the back's the one that's taking the brunt of the work, right? And so that's why we have chronic back problems for the most part. A lot of times back problems are also from inflammation and not having proper lymphatic drainage. So we see that things like lymphatic drainage massages, doing ionic foot baths, dry brushing, activating your lymphatic system with gua sha, things like that are really going to help with taking down inflammation, really letting that liquid release from your body. I'm going to go back to the ionic foot bath because I think that people were like, wait, what? Why would an ionic foot bath even help with lymphatic drainage and inflammation? So first of all, if you don't know what a ionic foot bath is, basically you have like a tub that you put your feet in and you fill it up with water, warm water. And there's a little ionic machine that goes in the middle. And the ions basically pull all of the toxins out of your feet. Have you ever seen those like patches that you can like put on the bottom of your foot, like while you sleep, and then when you wake up, you take it off and it's like black? Yeah, that's the same concept, but you're doing this for 30 minutes in the water. And you will see that at the end of the 30 minutes, that the water is no longer clear. It's a bunch of different colors, and sometimes it has flecks in it. Sometimes it has bubbles. Sometimes it has foam. Like there's all kinds of colors. Like there's all kinds of things. So there's essentially a color chart, and it tells you what each color means or what black flecks are for representing, what red flecks are representing, all that stuff. But one of them is inflammation, and another color is your lymphatic system draining. I do lymphatic drainage massages pretty regularly, and I do ionic foot baths pretty regularly to keep my inflammation down, because I always had chronic back pain and hip pain from not having ab strength and from having back-to-back babies at 40. So That's why I say ionic foot baths are going to help with inflammation if you are somebody that struggles with inflammation. Oh, that's the other thing. A vibration plate. Vibration plates are really, really good for taking down inflammation and your lymphatic system activating. But my masseuse saw that I was doing that on a video that I had posted, and she said, after you're done, are you like activating your stomach and like releasing the liquid? And I'm like, no, I didn't even know I was supposed to. So essentially, what she's saying is that after you're done and you've done your time on the vibration plate, I would say 20 minutes a day is ideal. Basically, going around your belly button in a clockwise fashion and then kind of stopping and pushing down on the left side because our left armpit holds the most. This is according to her as well. I'm going to have her on my podcast because you guys need to learn from her because she's a freaking amazing. Your left armpit is where the last place that your body releases lymphatic drainage. So my left armpit, I guess, was like really, really clogged when I went in. So anyways, going around in your stomach, around your belly button, and then pushing down on the left side, down towards your pelvis to push that lymphatic drainage out because it's all going down to your stomach and you want to really, really activate it to get it to release and you basically pee it out, right? So effective. I went 2 days ago. I have been having a lot of lower back pain because I was lifting really, really heavy since I'm back in the gym. I just started working out again about 3 or 4 months ago. And I work out with a trainer and, we're getting to the point where I'm lifting heavier and heavier. And I think I just got too cocky and thought like, oh yeah, I can lift this. All the other women are lifting this much. But I have to remember, I just had 2 major surgeries, right? I just had my pop surgery and then I had an emergency gallbladder removal surgery like a couple months later. And I have no ab strength and I haven't lifted in like 5 years. So I need to consciously remember like I'll get there. Like I don't need to get there fast. So I pulled something in my back and my back has been hurting again. And since I've prone to having low back pain, it is obviously going to take longer for it to get better because it kind of fell back into the same place it was before. And so I have been doing all the things to try to repair my back, ice and heat. I use arnica gel. I do my ionic foot baths. I activate my lymphatic system. I'm taking turmeric with black pepper. But the only thing that I didn't do was my lymphatic drainage massage. And the reason I didn't do it is because she took the whole last month off. So she wasn't here. But point of my story is I went 2 days ago. She released all of my lymphatic drainage, activated my lymphatic system, and my back pain is gone. Like, holy crap. And I will preface this. Gabriella does Brazilian lymphatic drainage massages. It is totally different than going to a masseuse and just getting a lymphatic drainage massage. Okay. Not only is she activating your lymphatic system, but she's also contouring your body, everything done with your hands, with her hands, and making me look like I have more of an hourglass figure, popping out my ribs so that I'm, having a flatter stomach. Just amazing, amazing stuff. You guys need to hear from her. I'm going to have her on my podcast one day. You guys, I asked her, she just got back into the office, so we'll see when it happens, but I'm going to have her on. You guys need to learn from her. She's amazing. I will say, if you are somebody that struggles with lymphedema, which is the swelling of your lower legs, right? You see that it's just pooling and you're getting like a lot of inflammation in the bottom of your legs, that lymphedema. I would 100% say go find somebody that does lymphatic drainage massages immediately. That is going to be so beneficial for you. And most people, I would say, need to start with a series of 3. And if you are somebody that has severe lymphedema, then I would say do 6. And then make sure you're doing them consistently to keep your lymphatic system activated. You can keep your lymphatic system activated by dry brushing every single day. If you guys don't know what dry brushing is, it's like a dry bristle brush. You're going to start at the bottom of your feet and you're going to brush it 10 times and then go up your legs. Everything's going towards your heart, right? So when you're coming from the bottom up, you're brushing up your legs, 10 times on the bottom leg and then the top leg, and then you're getting it to your stomach. When you do your stomach, you're doing clockwise around your belly button. And then when you're going from the head to your heart, you're brushing down everything going to your heart. That is going to activate your lymphatic system. That's something you can do at home. Best to do it right before you get in the shower because it's going to really start to take off dead skin. And you want to obviously then take a shower so that you can wash that off. But that is something you can do daily if you suffer from lymphedema or if you wanted to activate your lymphatic system, which we should all be doing no matter what. You can look at the benefits of lymphatic drainage. I mean, it's been something that's been part of Ayurveda for 5,000 years that they do every single day. That's where gua sha, came about. And so that is just going to contour your face. I have a video on my YouTube channel about how to gua sha your face. I'm going to make a video about dry brushing so that you guys can see exactly what you're supposed to do. I'd say if you have joint pain, chronic pain, have lymphedema, anything like that, dry brushing, lymphatic drainage, ionic foot baths are going to be your best friend. Anywho, I just want to get on here and talk about exercise for women because I think that we think that there's only one type and, we have to lift heavy and we have to do things that were geared for men. But ladies, there's Pilates, there's yoga, there's rebounding classes, which are really, really, really good for your lymphatic system to do rebounding. There are classes for dance like Zumba. There's so many different things that are actually geared more for women's bodies than just lifting heavy. So mix it up, okay? You don't need to go to the gym every single day and lift heavy weights. You can do it for strength twice a week, but at the other times, do yoga, do Pilates, do anything else that is more for a woman's body because we have hormones that men don't have. So we need to be really mindful of what we're doing for our bodies every single day. And lifting heavy is one of those things. Okay. So not saying not to do it. I'm just saying we don't need to be doing it 5 days a week. Okay. Especially if you have high cortisol, right? Okay. So I think that's it for my exercise episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will put the link in the comments for my vibration plate for my ionic foot bath. I will actually put Gabriella's link in there as well if you were in the Orange County area and you want to go see her. And then DM her and tell her to go and be on my podcast. Okay? All right. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.